Now with an Eaton, you can't replace the single anchor pin, even if it's worn beyond Eaton specs of 31 thousandths. If that happens, then you got to replace the whole spider. But with Bud's truck, since everything else checked out okay, we started by replacing the anchor pin bushings with stainless steel ones, which helps prevent the anchor pins from freezing in the spider. Then, using anti-seize compound, we put in hard chrome plated anchor pins to increase the corrosion and wear resistance. Finally, we put new shoes with the right block for Bud's application and new hardware on all four wheels. And that did the trick, because on the road test, those brakes worked smooth as silk. Bud's truck was a pretty cut and dried case. But even with something as easy as replacing shoes, you gotta dig deeper, because they're usually not the whole problem. And when the shoes and the lining look okay, then you really gotta play detective to figure out where the trouble is. It's what Holmes and I would call the methodical approach. Now you take this truck with Eaton brakes that was in the other day. First, after looking underneath, Billy went over every shoe. Now there was some wear, but not too bad. But we did find grease buildup on one set of shoes and the camshaft head. That meant someone either put the camshaft seal in wrong or it was worn out. And when we got deeper, there were enough problems to make me think this truck wasn't maintained right since Nixon was president. Like on one wheel alone, we found one roller with flat spots on it and the other with a frozen roller pin. Now that happens sometimes with smooth rollers. They don't seem to last as long as the diamond knurled type, which gives better grip and saves wear on your camshaft. Next, since the wear on the blocks was pretty small, I knew the return springs must have been good heavy-duty ones. See, I knew a weak return spring would have caused lots of wear on the bottom shoe because it allows that shoe to drag. Then we got the shoes off and scoped out the cam to see how much wear had been caused by the roller sliding instead of a positive rolling action. Then we checked for wear on the cam bushings. Now some guys like to use a dial indicator to measure the bushing play. For Eaton brakes, the specs are 20 thousandths, while on Rockwell, they're 31 thousandths. Usually though, I can tell by the looseness whether the bushings need replacing, which in this case, they did. Next, we got the camshaft out and took a good look at that. And, just as I suspected from the bushings and head, the cam bearing journals were worn excessively. Finally, we lubed the slack and made sure it could adjust and lock properly. All in all, to get that Eaton job back on the road, we needed a cam repair kit and a new camshaft. Now, we used the kit to replace the bushings and the cam seal, making sure it was put in the right way this time. And then we lubed up the new camshaft and installed it. Then we put the lube slack back on and got the shoes back into place. At the same time, like we do on every brake job, we put on new heavy-duty return springs. That's because there's no real way to check them for wear. So you might as well play it safe and protect your labor and your customers' downtime, right? Then we replaced the rollers with the diamond knurled type. fine-tune the slack adjustments by tightening, backing off 1/2 to 3/4 of a turn, then checking it with a pry bar. Finally, we checked the clearance between the shoe and the drum to make sure it was between 18 and 22 thousandths. Well, like I said before, it takes a methodical approach to do a good, thorough job of anything, and that's with any job. And air foundation brakes are one of the easier ones. Now hydraulics, that's another matter. Well, I better grab some coffee and get moving. Now just remember, if you do it right the first time, you know, a systematic approach to the problem and the right parts, you'll save everyone a lot of hassle later.
Hey, Sherlock, take a look at what someone did to these Fruhoff brakes.
You see what I mean?